Crazy Stupid Podcast.
If you'd like to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to know whenever we post, we would really, really appreciate this. Because as we say every week, we are the most important thing in your life. So we are, I guess, doing a double whammy. We watched episode 2 of Secret Invasion.
Yes, we did.
And we also are rewatching the greatest Star Wars television show ever created.
The greatest Star Wars anything.
I still think Rogue One is better.
No, I don't. I think Andor took all the good parts of Rogue One
And then said we're going to just go.
Made it even better.
Yeah, that's fair. We can start off with Secret Invasion, I guess, since we just finished watching that.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, I had a few things.
Go ahead.
So the first one, we talked a little bit about this in episode 1 of the role race plays in this show. Because at first we were like, oh, it's kind of subtle, and like if you're black, you're probably going to pick up on a couple of things. This one, it was like, oh, it's for sure in your face. For sure in your face. Especially that scene with Rhodey and Nick. And this is what I'll say about what I think they're really critiquing on that I found like pretty fascinating. And I'm curious to see if how you interpret it the same or differently. The way Secret Invasion is exploring race is showing it from 3 different perspectives. I think from the first perspective, you have Rhodey. He is a black man that has a lot of faith in the systems in place in our country that he thinks are beneficial to everyone. And with black people at the seat at the table, that is enough to make change. That is sufficient enough in his mind, right? Then you have Nick Fury. He has not fully given up on the country's systems, but based off of everything he's seen, he's a lot more skeptical. He has a healthy skepticism of systems because he saw what happened with Hydra. And I mean, you know, his story of where he's come from, he talks a lot. I think it's intentional how they mention that his childhood is in Alabama, right? That's like one of the states that everyone thinks about when you reflect on the civil rights era. He's kind of at conflict with Rhodey because he's like, bro, are you really going to do politics right now? I'm trying to tell you that like these systems that you have so much faith in are compromised. They have millions of scrolls everywhere and we're not really sure if they're going to be on our side or not. And then there's Gravik, who in his mind, systems have never helped him at all because he put his faith in America's government, aka SHIELD, Nick Fury, and it never worked out for him. I don't know if the show is going to give us an answer as to where the viewer should land on. I hope that they leave it up to us, but I do think they're giving a very honest spectrum of where a lot of black people land on the political conversation.
Yeah, now that you say that, it is not an accident that it's 3 black men.
I think it's very intentional.
Having Gravik be a black man is like not. Yeah,
yes,
that was very purposeful.
The leader of this movement, for sure.
Remember, we had a comment on one of our videos about Rhodey where somebody said that he was tap adjacent. I wrote, he is no longer tap adjacent. He is tap dancing for the white man.
Oh, this dancing is so funny.
I know. I wish I could remember who commented that. If it was you, make yourself known.
Yeah.
It was so funny. And I mean, okay, I said that because it'd be kind of funny, but like there were parts of Rhodey's like spiel at the end with Nick Fury that did sort of make sense, like sort of, right? Like I get where Nick Fury was coming from, I do, but also like the whole like help a brother out thing, I feel like that kind of caps when you get to like international crisis. I just don't think that works there. But so when Rhodey heard him say that, it was like, bro, like sorry, but. And he kind of told him, like, the reason why we're here isn't so that we can just give a pass to anybody who looks like us. Like, that's not right. And I agree with that. You making it to the table doesn't mean you just let anybody else come to the table. Like, you do, like, people need, you know, right? Not all people of color need to be at the table or can be at the table.
Clarence Thomas, you can go.
Get out. You know what I mean? So I got what he was saying there. The thing that was frustrating, though, was like, once Fury told him about the scrolls, why? Like, why are you still upset? Like, why is he still fired? You know, like, that's the part that I didn't understand in that conversation.
So,
Because
unless you have an answer for it, I think
no,
I have
I
something.
don't. I don't.
Well, I think part of it is Fury's track record has not always looked the greatest. If you look at his full body of work from a, I guess from a political standpoint, because he did help sort of create, well, he didn't create S.H.I.E.L.D. That was Peggy, but he was sort of leading it for a while, and he created the Avengers, and the Avengers led to a lot of problems. And then at the end of Winter Soldier, he goes on the run. So he's not really holding himself accountable for the things that happened. He's not there in Civil War to try to help like clear things up.
That's true.
And then he does bring the scrolls. He doesn't know it's millions, but he does bring the scrolls to Earth, and he doesn't tell anyone. So I think from their perspective, they think he's too rogue and has too much agency, which is kind of true because Steve kind of calls him out on that in Winter Soldier, where he was like, oh, you're the only one that knows all the secrets, you know? And then he's building all those war weapons, and then like no one really knew about it. There is some merit to the way Rhodey reacted, but I think from our perspective, we see it from Fury's because everything that he was doing was from a good intended purpose. You know what I mean?
I do think this thing with the scrolls, I just don't think that he thought that through.
Fury?
Yeah, I was thinking about that when they showed the flashback scene, and it's like,
Amen.
what you guys are
Got
just,
himself some scroll-lissy.
You're
He
just-
couldn't think possibly.
oh, what a shock. Okay, but like, you're just gonna scour the universe for an empty planet? Like, is that really what we're doing? Like an empty livable planet? That's not a viable plan. Like that, of course you haven't found anything yet. Like,
And he also doesn't seem to have the same sense of urgency that they do.
it does really feel like he is using them. That was just never gonna work.
No.
Like that was just not. You're not gonna go out there and just find that's
A
just
habitable planet,
that has nobody on it.
and that won't have an issue. It is the story of immigrants.
Yes, of refugees. Like, honestly, to me, I mean, I heard what he was saying to Talos on the train about how, like, this planet, you know, I mean, like, it's true. Humans aren't even good to other human refugees. Like, that's always a thing. But at the same time, part of me was like, I don't know, man. Like, you didn't even want to try to just make it like, I will be an advocate on your behalf.
Yeah.
To make this an inhabitable place for you all. You didn't even want to try because, I don't know, you're a powerful man. You have a lot of powerful connections. You are in a solid position to try to do this. And I'm sure that there would be lots and lots and lots of conflict and pushback and all of the things for sure. But it's kind of the only option that you had, because looking for somewhere else, that's just not like, that's really just not realistic at all.
Yeah.
And I feel like he knew that.
Well, I think, I don't know, maybe. He also did have Carol. And if there was someone who could find a habitable planet, it would have been Nick with Carol's help. But I think so many things happened after he makes that promise. There is S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra. There's the threat of Loki. Then
Okay,
Thanos. And now, you know what I mean?
Okay, yes, but also the events of that movie took place in 1995.
Yeah,
He had a
it's well
solid
over
decade and a half.
2012 is when Avengers happens, right?
Yeah, he had a solid amount
You're
of
right.
time to make something shake. And I don't know, Is Danvers really out there looking for planets? Is that what she's doing in all her free time? It doesn't seem like it.
I don't know what she's doing. I really hope they explore that because, girl, you left your friends high and dry.
Like, just...
Like, when you
Yeah.
came for Tony's funeral, did you check up on any of them? Did you check on Maria Rambeau? Like, because it doesn't sound like it.
And it's like this whole time, what you're just telling them, sit tight. Like,
It's not plausible. It's not plausible at all.
just sit tight. And also, while you're at it, help us with our problems. Like, that's
Yeah.
nuts. That's crazy to me. Like, honestly, Gravik is not being like... I mean, as a human being, I am against world annihilation. I am.
Eren Yeager.
I'm not, I'm not for that idea. But how he's moving is not that unrealistic. Like,
No.
it's been his
He's fed up.
whole childhood into adulthood that he's like sitting here waiting on you guys to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. It's like, it doesn't even look like there's an active effort being put in all the time, right? Like we're not getting updates. We're not getting okay, we think no, it's just wait. It's just wait. We're doing it. We're looking behind the scenes. Just wait a while. Like, that's kind of,
Not
it
enough.
doesn't make any sense.
And it's not enough. I honestly, I know we said it jokingly, but it does kind of feel like how a lot of politicians treat black people. Like, it does not feel like they have the same sense of urgency to solve our, like, sometimes life or death situations. And then you're kind of sort of gaslit in people acting like they don't understand your built up outrage. Like, it's kind of frustrating. And so when I look at Gravik, I'm like, I sympathize with you, bro. I'm not gonna like give you the thumbs up for how you going about it, like what he did in Russia, but I can't look back and say, Fury, you messed this up. Like, this is on you and Carol.
There is a part of me that is like, why don't we, they're already here. Okay, like, seriously? There's already millions of them here and nobody's noticed.
Yeah, so if they do find out, what's the difference? Really?
Why not just let them stay? I honestly
too late.
do. But even like from Gravik's perspective, I'm like, honestly, you don't even have to take out humans to live here. Like, just stay. Like, what? You're already here.
I don't know. He's probably read. He said that's the accurate way to read human history. I think his paranoia of how they would react may not be accurate, but it's like justified.
I mean, you don't even have to announce that you're here. Y'all just be here in disguise.
No, but you know what that is? It's like constantly asking black people to code switch all the time. That puts the burden on us.
I guess
They
that's
should be able to
true.
live freely
That
wherever
is
they are.
true. It just kind of seems like they don't really
I know.
care. Like, they be in those human disguises all the time.
The ones in the field are, yeah.
I don't know. I just, man,
Next thing
I don't have a good solution.
Yeah, no. And I don't know if they will. I think the point is for us to have conversations like this.
Yeah.
The next thing that I did want to talk a little bit about Maria Hill.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not really one to like spend all day, every day just bashing Marvel, like for the most part. Like, we've already talked about this. We're just going to have our, a fun time. I do think Marvel might have dropped the ball in the way that they've handled Maria Hill. And here's why I say it. I'm not against her character leaving. I am against the fact that we only got like less than an episode with her. And I think the loss of her character and how unsatisfied I felt is a reminder that I think MCU needs more than 6 episodes. And I know we're going to get that later on. They've already announced that. But if we had more episodes that gave her more screen time, I think the ending of episode 1 would have hit a little bit harder. And I think the funeral scene with her mom also would have impacted me in a more saddening way.
Yeah, there's no attachment to her. But I
Right.
think it goes beyond the show. I just think in general in the franchise, they just drop her in here and there.
That's true. And maybe that was my expectation that I don't think was fair for the directors and showrunners for this show. But I was hoping we would get the relationship that Nick had with Natasha. We would see them explore that with Maria. Because when her mom was like, she would have gone to heaven and hell for you. And I'm like, would she? Because we haven't really seen it.
We haven't seen it, so we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. All right. I'll pass it back over to you.
You had like serious notes. I'm not gonna lie. I was just
chilling.
Okay. So we kind of already talked about my first one, which was why not just work to get home for them on Earth. And we also already talked about Rhodey. Okay, the only other thing that I had was a list of the people that we know that they do have as Skrulls. So we know that they have the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom.
NATO.
They have the leader of NATO. They have a Fox News anchor.
Yeah, that is quite literally. They're making fun of Tucker Carlson. Yeah.
But then they also had that Asian guy. Who was he? And the woman who I looked to be Indian, but I don't know.
She has to have some leadership position, maybe like an ambassador or something in a country there.
Yeah.
The Asian guy, I'm not trying to stereotype, but I did not get the impression that he was in a high-ranking government position just due to his wardrobe.
Yeah, it was different. Maybe he's a 10 Rings.
Could be. I only had two other things. First is that boy Nick Fury got himself a black woman. Or
very pleased.
Listen, I'm not trying to sound like I'm like pro segregation or nothing like that, but I appreciate Nick Fury's love interest being black, because for some reason it feels like Hollywood is against seeing a healthy monogamous black couple. I feel like most times when we get it, whether they are like cis het couples or even queer couples, they're always like mixed race. They're of different races.
No, this is my theory on that is they include the black person to be like, we are diverse, but like they're like, we can't be that diverse. So like we still have, because yes, I
so annoying.
Like, I mean, just like like you had the black Little Mermaid, but you still gonna have the white prince. Even
in Eternals, Phastos had a husband, but his husband wasn't black.
With queer couples, like 9 times out of 10, it's gonna be an interracial couple.
But you know what? I'm sorry, black queer people, especially young adults and teenagers, they need to see that in my mind.
I agree.
A very healthy queer black couple.
Yes.
Come on.
I would agree. I have also noticed the pattern. This is why This Is Us holds a special place in my heart.
Yes.
Because Randall and I forgot her name, but they're really holding
Beth,
it down.
Isn't it Beth?
Beth, yes.
Yeah. Right, are we going to call out Shonda Rhimes?
Oh, listen, everybody knows Shonda Rhimes loves the swirl. Shonda Rhimes is never going to put, I don't know why. I don't know what the reason is. But Shonda Rhimes, it's going to be a mixed race couple every time.
It's quite annoying.
She did switch it up in Bridgerton, and she had the man be black and the woman be white, which is odd for her, because usually it's a black woman.
That's like getting a new job,
man.
but it's like a lateral move. That's what that is. That's what that is.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Sean, that's just a staple in anything that she ever creates. I just expected it at this point. It's not shocking. But I too always cherish seeing black couples. I have nothing against mixed couples. Many, as you know, you've seen my family. But I think it's nice to see black love.
Yes.
And I mean, also that's why Ryan Lane was so good.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's not just with black people. They do, like, if you notice, like, To All the Boys I've Loved Before, Asian girl, white boy, like, it's with they do this with everybody, and I think it really is because they're like, we still want the white audiences tuned in.
But you need to challenge your audience.
I would agree.
They should be able to see love in couples that are of the same race or ethnicity, because second thing, have you seen the marketing that Secret Invasion has done for their show? Mm-mm. So apparently Skrulls have just been like popping up in like random places.
What do you mean?
Okay. So the first clip that I saw was people started to notice that at different Marvel premieres, you would see Skrulls just like standing in the background, and they're not like fans, they're like on stage, like behind the like red drapes.
So like a person dressed as a Skrull.
Yes.
Okay. I was like, is this a toy? Is this
no,
okay.
like a person is dressed as a Skrull.
Oh, that's
and then I was like, all right, well, you know, that's kind of, you know, like that's fun that Marvel did that. But then you started to see Skrulls in the background on like ABC news coverages. Like you would see an anchor talking, and then in the background, a Skrull is just walking by.
I need to see this.
Yeah.
We don't have to do it now, but that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love when shows do stuff like that.
That movie that you were telling me about, was it Smile? Apparently, I think they did something similar to that.
Horrifying. That would be very scary in real life.
Yeah. What I remembered actually was back in 2017 with Fortnite. It's going to sound crazy, but people would post pictures of these random items in like the desert somewhere. And then they would post like, does anybody know what this is? And all of the like fans of Fortnite were like, oh yeah, that's like the tomato from Tomato Town. And then it would make it go viral, and it kind of helped with the marketing of the game, so to speak. Yeah. So every now and then a movie will do that kind of viral marketing, and I think it's pretty impressive every time.
I like it every time. I think it's cool. Very creative.
Last bit. Stop looking at my notes.
Sorry.
Last bit. I just want to give props to Samuel Jackson. I feel like for a lot of young movie watchers that primarily consume Marvel, they probably forgot that Samuel Jackson is not just a Marvel guy. That is a very accomplished actor that has some very good talent, and not just a couple of Marvel one-liners. So I wanted to give my props to Samuel, and I appreciate Marvel for giving him his own TV show, because he can finally do a little bit more than just a few lines in every single movie.
And also because I would argue at the beginning of Marvel, he was the biggest name in it. Robert Downey Jr.'s career was in a slump.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson was just beginning.
And she wasn't in the first. Was she in the first one?
She shows up in Iron Man.
She was in No, she was in Iron Man 2.
Oh, okay. So I like he's a big deal. Like he's a very big deal.
In Star Wars.
I'm Pulp Fiction.
Yup.
I mean, he inhabits the
Django.
same space as like Denzel. Like
Yes.
Black Man does a lot of action films, but just like a staple. Like he's been a household name forever.
Yeah.
It's a big deal to have him in your franchise. And so, yeah, you can't just have him be this guy on the side forever. It doesn't make sense.
I hope Marvel fans don't take Samuel Jackson for granted. I really do. This isn't just some random black actor. He is that guy.
Yeah.
Thank you all for tuning in. All right, we'll see you all next time. Peace.